Welcome to Chess Pains. Today we'll be talking about the Sicilian defense. It is black's best response to pawn to e4. It's not aggressive for those of you who like to play aggressive, but it is successful nonetheless. So it starts pawn to c5. From here, white's best move and most common move is f3, knight f3. From here, it's recommended that you play a6 from black. However, the most common move is d6. And I want to mainly focus on the main lines today, since this is just an introduction video. Most common move for white will be d4 from here. Black's just going to take, and white's going to take. You could take with the queen if you want, but that's not a good idea. Generally speaking, you want to develop your smaller pieces and then develop the queen and the rooks. From here, black is going to play knight to f6, and white will play c3. Now we can finally play a6 as far as the main line goes. It's more successful from black if you play a6 as the second move, but playing it at this point still prevents bishop to b5. Instead, bishop will be playing to g5, and then e6, f4. From here, black has a lot of options. The most common is going to be bishop to e7. A little bit better move, not much better, but a little bit better, be queen to b6. You can also move queen to c7. Not sure what's going on with the board. The most successful move for black from here is going to be h6, kicking that bishop away, or forcing it to trade for the knight, either way. Alright, back to the first couple moves here. White could also move knight to c3. It's a little bit better than f3, actually, even though f3 is more common. From here, black can play knight to c6 or f6. These are both very common moves. You could also play e6. That's a very common move, and actually it's more successful than either of the knight moves. So I would actually recommend that if you're playing the Sicilian defense. From here, generally, white's going to play f3, knight f3. And then if you haven't already played e6, if you did something else, you could play e6 now. Or you could play d6 from this position. Really, it depends on what you did in the previous move. But for this line, I'm just going to do d6. From here, white has a 40% success rate, black has a 30% success rate. So I'm not sure why this is such a common start for black as far as the Sicilian goes. A more successful move for black is knight c6. Generally, white's going to do a bishop move or a pawn move, either to d3 or d4, either one. I just want to show you one more variation real quick and a few different tricks for black here. Generally, you're going to play e6 in this position. It's the most successful move from here. White's generally going to play knight f3. It gives white a 39% success rate versus a 31% success rate for black, playing knight f3. If you are black, you really want them to play g3. That's another common move against the Sicilian, but it gives black a 42% success rate. So it's not very good for white, even though it is a common move. From here, black is going to want to play either knight to c6, d5, or a6. Those are the three most common moves. We'll go over c6. Even though it is the weakest of the three, it is the most common. From here, white has different options, as I already talked about, with a different variation, but similar. D3 or D4, move the bishop out, different things there. From here, D5. If you are black playing the Sicilian, this is probably what you want to do. It gives white a 25% success rate and black a 40% success rate. Generally speaking, white is going to take, and then black, obviously, you take with the pawn and not the queen. Alright, and the last variation I want to show you real quick is a6. From this position, white is going to feel a little defended against, really. It gives white a 32% success rate, and it gives black a 47% success rate. So if you are black, this is going to look pretty good, unless you're playing against someone much higher rated than you, or if you just don't really understand chess, you just play openings, and then from there you're on your own. Other than those two scenarios, you're probably going to win from here.